I don't know what I'm going to say. Like, I mean, what am I going to say for failing that squat and missing the bench press and stuff like that? I mean, this is a pretty good book, so thanks for loaning it to me, but I don't know which ones to choose. I guess I can just crap on about having a shitty deload or something like that, you know, or the pressure of a big comp or other stuff like that, but I'll figure it out. But have you seen the strongman version? It's like double the size. It's huge. This show, of course, as always, is proudly brought to you by ProRaw Powerlifting, with Big Dogs 2 coming soon to a Frankston Arts Centre near you in October 2017. Hey guys, hello and welcome to the Road to ProRaw 9, episode number 13. My name is Ben Winstone. Thank you for joining me. And yes, 13 episodes in, I'm still churning them out. Who would have thought? It's the YouTube show that just won't die. But don't worry, we're getting close. This is the second last episode. It's the ProRaw 9 recap episode, my own personal recap. I know last week I was out at PTC with Marcus and we had a good chat about the event itself, but I just wanted to sort of cover my own lifting and talk about my own experience there on its own episode. So this week I'll have quite a few clips of the various attempts that I made from a few different angles, because I had the phone filming, my GoPro, and also, if I'm clever enough, I'll steal some from the live feed. So yeah, that's what's coming up. But also I discussed the ProRaw 9 car park fee GoFundMe campaign, how that went, and also some of the other disgracefulness I found on GoFundMe when I was searching for something to donate that money to. So all this and more on this episode of the Road to ProRaw 9. But first, of course, the Snapchat feedback. So this week there's been a few come through, or over the last couple of weeks. The episode that I filmed with Aaron Scarborough out at Iron Revolution Gym brought in a couple of different snaps. So the first one was when he says yes to spotting you on stiff leg deadlifts. And it's quite a cute angle, actually, I must admit. The next one is Rock Huggers Unite, the Road to ProRaw 9. Now this one's a bit of a cheap shot at my fatness, I guess, showing Eric Cartman from South Park saying, on this week's episode of the Road to ProRaw 9. And of course, it doesn't take long for the creeps to set in. So this next one says the best part of the week, with that eggplant thing again, which I just don't understand. And is that his crotch in that picture? And 38 minutes. Bet I can go at least half a dozen times. Go where? Where's he going to go in 38 minutes? Half a dozen times. And the eggplant, and why is it raining and stuff? Oh, I don't get some of these. And finally, a bit of fan love from the live feed. Check out that redhead. Now, onto ProRaw 9. So, as everybody knows, the whole point of this show series was to track my journey from about 10 or 11, 12 weeks out through to competing at ProRaw 9. So, in case you haven't watched the last 12 episodes, you better catch up. I had breakfast, I went into the exhibition centre and got weighed in by the one and only Ed Coan.
You don't have to fill it, just leave it open and blank. Oh my god!
Put on Ed.
Wait, stay still. Okay.
Weighed in by Ed Coan. Doesn't get any better than that. Squat 285. Bench press 185.
See if I'm feeling your
Deadlift
info.
290.
Yeah.
Thank you, mate.
No problem.
It's a good start to the day when the greatest powerlifter of all time takes your weigh in and open the details, and then moved on to warming up. Now, one thing that probably caught myself and my spotter by surprise was perhaps some of the speed that the rest of the guys warmed up with. So keep in mind that this was my first proper competition in over 18 months. Towards the end of last year, I'd only done a 3-lift novice comp out at PTC HQ, and then a couple of weeks later I did a push-pull that only had about 20 people in it. So I'd be sort of squatting 60, 100, 140 for example, or around there, give or take the squat bar and red plates instead of 20s. But you know, and then I'd look around and people, you know, very close to myself opening would have 200 plus on the bar, you know. So the gap sort of caught us by surprise, but we sort of stuck to our own thing, and everyone in there was pretty friendly and happy to sort of let everyone work in and you know, load and unload and stuff like that. So there's no real drama with it, but it just kind of, you know, I guess just something that wasn't used to, I guess. But and an example of that is in deadlifts, when I actually ended up warming up by myself on the platform, so I didn't have to share the platform with anyone because everyone had already warmed up, and I was like, you know, it was way too soon for what I thought, or sorry, way too big a gap I thought between having to go out and compete. So yeah, that was something unusual. But another thing in the warm-up room was just I mean, it was star-studded. It was, as I said, Ed Coan was there, the Lillybridge family. You know, you've got some of the big heavyweights. You've got Gwayne walking around. You've got the top 125 guys and stuff like that. And it's just, you know, I think I used the description last week in the episode that was like Instagram came to life, but purely because, you know, everyone else was really from interstate and I wasn't used to seeing these people lifting at the same time that I am, because I've never competed in sort of a state or a national level competition. So that was a little bit, you know, unusual, I guess, to see as well, you know, that here I was, the guy that normally trains in the garage and expecting to, you know, try and avoid coming last in the class, and you've got the absolute cream of the crop from the under 125 kilo and heavyweight powerlifters in Australia, you know, warming up around you. You know, it's quite surreal. Now, of course, squats is always the first lift, and I think I was first or second, I think second, to go out into the platform, and I sort of had in the back of my mind how big that crowd was over the last few days. But as I sort of walked out there, and you know, you're waiting for everyone to put their wraps on and stuff, and here I was with my crappy old knee sleeves with holes in it and stuff, and just kind of had them half rolled down and then pop them up and off we go. Now the first warm-up was, the first attempt was at 285 kilos.
Bar is loaded for Ben Spielberg Winstone. Check him out, the Road to ProRaw YouTube series. Very interesting series, very amusing. Ben chooses to lift in knee wraps rather than knee sleeves rather than knee wraps. Likes to make it harder on himself. Anyway, 285 kilo opening squat for Ben Winstone. And there you go, strong as you like. You can drive the camera, can drive the squat bar. He'll be aiming at a 285 kilo squat. The bar is loaded for Ben Spielberg Winstone. Check it out, the Road to ProRaw YouTube series. Very interesting series, very amusing. Ben chooses to lift in knee wraps rather than knee sleeves rather than knee wraps. Likes to make it harder on himself. Anyway, 285 kilo opening squat for Ben Winstone. And there you go, as strong as you like. Can drive the camera, can drive the squat bar.
And this actually didn't feel as snappy as it did in training. The bar sort of felt a little bit heavy on my back, but I stuck to the plan. I went to 305 for my second.
I believe this is also his comp PR, so he'll be keen to equal his comp PR for his second attempt. As you'll see, as Marcos has told him, he's bringing a knife to a gunfight by wearing knee sleeves rather than knee wraps. But with legs as brutally strong as his, Ben doesn't care. Wow. But with legs as brutally strong as his, Ben doesn't care. Wow. In fact, I believe Ben missed grip. Wow. In fact, I believe Ben...
And this moved okay. I wouldn't say it moved better than it did in my last training session when I squatted it, but I was happy to finally get that squat PB in competition on the board. And I guess this is where I went wrong. Now, I really need to refer to this book, I think, to explain what happened next. But probably the simple answer is that I got a little greedy. I chased a number rather than listening to my head. I was so sort of hell-bent on squatting 700 pounds in competition that I requested that for my third, and this was the result.
Trains mostly out of his own garage. You can check him out online with the Road to ProRaw series. 317.5 kilos on the bar, 700 pounds on the bar. Get behind him. A huge PR attempt for Ben Winstone. Come on, Benny. Just rolled forward a little bit there, unfortunately. Just came in on his toes there a little bit at the end. 317.5 kilos on the bar, 700 pounds on the bar. Get behind.
Come on, man!
Huge PR attempt for Ben Winstone.
Let's go, man! Back into the bar!
Come on, Benny.
Back!
Just rolled forward a little bit there, unfortunately. Just came on his toes there a little bit at the end.
It was just way too heavy. It was, what can I say? It was a silly attempt by me. I probably, in hindsight, I would have chosen maybe 312 at an absolute max. You know, I don't think there was really much more left in it on the day. But sitting under that bar, it just felt like I was under it for minutes. It was just, I don't know what happened. You know, I was sitting under there and waiting, wondering what the hell's going on, because I know the crew's normally very quick to respond with missed lifts. But this one just turned into a bit of a disaster. I was a bit pissed off when I went out the back, purely because, you know, I was used to being caught and moving on and stuff like that, not having to sit under it for, you know, an eternity is what it felt like. But luckily I seemed to escape without any real injury. So, I mean, imagine if something else had have happened, I would have been, you know, 10 times angry, I guess. But, you know, these things happen on the platform, so it's partly my fault for choosing an incorrect weight, and, you know, it just happens. So luckily no one was hurt, luckily I wasn't hurt, and I got to move on to bench press. Now bench press I opened at 185 kilos.
Very, very fast opener. 3 wide lights. Ben will be very happy with that. Very, very fast opener. 3 wide lights. Ben will be very happy with that.
This felt okay, so I went to 200 for my second attempt.
Bench in competition is 200 kilos, so he's hoping to match that with this attempt now. And no doubt if he's successful here, he will try and take a bigger bench for his third. But 200 kilos on the bar for a local boy from... Trains in his garage, a little bit of time at PDC HQ. Yeah, not too many problems there for Benny. 200 kilos, 2 white lights.
And it was good to hit 200 in a 3 lift competition, because I've only hit it in a push pull before. So I guess it was kind of a PB in that sense. Now, immediately after that second attempt, my lower right-hand back got really tight or locked up. I ran off to the myotherapist, which was about 30-40 metres away in another booth there, and got them to sort of try and loosen it up a little bit so I could come back and attempt my third, which I chose 205 kilos for. The squat, it was probably a little too heavy, but I mean, at benching 200, I didn't have much more to go. Moving on to deadlifts, I was on a 505 kilo subtotal, so I was pretty confident I could hit the low 800s total with my first and seconds, sorry, more my seconds for deadlifts. So I opened with 290 kilos. That felt okay, so I went to 310 as planned for my second attempt.
We've seen Ben here. We've watched his road to ProRaw stuff. He pulled 290s in opener. He's pulled 310 as his second deadlift. Yeah, 3 white lies, 310. He'll be very happy with that. Puts him at 815 as a powerlifting total so far.
Pull it back.
Now this moved a little slow, but I knew that I tend to sort of save a bit more for that final deadlift, a bit more drive off the floor and a little bit more angrier with it. So I was a little bit torn as to what to choose. I was going to go somewhere between 320 to 330. I realised on the day 330 was going to be too much of a stretch, and I'd rather back it off a little bit, learn from my mistakes from the previous 2 lifts, and try and hit something that I knew I had a very good chance of hitting for my third, and try and rescue some sort of reasonable total. So I chose 322.5, which was still a 5 kilo competition PB, and here it is.
A PR attempt, 322.5. Ben Winstone, a local boy, trains in his garage, 322.5 kilos. Well, there we go, 322.5. That'll be featured on the road from ProRaw, I guess.
Let's go, Ben!
Well, there we go, 322.5.
Fuck yeah, man.
Well, there we go, 322.5. That'll be featured.
So it was a good lift. Maybe there was 325 there, but for the sake of 2.5 kilos, it's not a big deal. So I ended up with a total of 827.5 kilos. This was a PB total by about 37.5 kilos. So it was pretty good. I mean, I can't really complain making such a big jump, but at the same time, I didn't make a great jump from when I last competed in November. I merely just sort of put everything together a little bit better, even though I still missed those couple of lifts. So there was still a little bit there. I guess on an absolutely perfect day, I was probably going to go somewhere around 840 to 850, which would have sort of got me into that middle of the pack that I talked about in episode number 11. But I realised as soon as I missed that third squat and also squatting in sleeves rather than wraps, that staying with that sort of mid-pack was, long gone. Now, I did finish 9th out of 11th in the class, so somebody did tear their pec, I believe, which put them in last place. So, a little bit gifted a spot there, I guess, but it was such a tough field. I mean, the winners had, and I've just got to refer here because there's so many different numbers to try and remember. So Ryan Williams took out first place on 925 kilos, and second and third were tied on total with Jamie Thompson from New Zealand and Josh Tate with 912.5 kilos each. So Jamie being the lighter lifter, so he received second place, and Josh was in third. So, and I mean, Josh did a great effort of benching 257.5 kilos as well in a 3-lift meet at under 125 kilos, which is a huge effort. So there was, plenty of great lifts throughout the class. It was stacked at the top end. It was, the best of the best. So it was an honour to share the platform with those guys, even if my performance obviously wasn't in the same league. It was a great sort of learning curve. I learnt quite a bit. Actually, it was quite good because I learnt that the program that I used was quite good to get me to the strength I needed to be. But one thing it lacked was a sort of that deload type or peaking aspect to it. So I sort of hit my numbers in the last couple of weeks of training. Obviously the bench was hampered a little bit by the pec troubles, which on the day was pretty much fine. So looks like I've dodged a bullet there. But it was more about, once I hit those numbers, then it was like, okay, what do I do for the next week and a half or 2 weeks or something like that? So I probably didn't prepare myself in the best I could have for that competition. So that's something I need to research and work on moving forward. Should I have gone a little bit lighter on the openers, made them feel really good, jumped to about the same weight in seconds, and then adjusted some of those thirds. But I'd always planned to go a little bit more aggressive in the first and seconds because I really wanted to set a PB total on the second attempt of all lifts, which would have got me in about the 8:10, 8:15 mark, I think, if I added up correctly, 815 kilos. So, I ticked the box there. I made all my seconds, which was, mostly important. Then thirds was always going to be a little bit of do or die. So, it was just a different strategy I played for the comp. And, it kind of worked, kind of didn't work. But I'll take everything on board, and I'll definitely, approach next time around a little bit differently. So moving on to another thing with ProRaw 9, which was the mock-up GoFundMe campaign that I made regarding the car park fees. Now, I ended up receiving about $45-ish, $46, I think, in donations. Now, GoFundMe took their cut out, which took it to about $40, and I bumped it up to $50, and then I moved it on. I donated it to another cause. So I did say I was going to donate to a charity or something, but I thought, you know what, I'll have a quick look on GoFundMe. I'll type in powerlifting. I'll see what comes up. And there was one campaign there called G Up for Jody, which had a $12,500 goal. And at the time I donated, it was about very high $11,000 mark. Now, it's for a woman called Jody, a mother to 3 children, and has been diagnosed with cancer, and it's spread to a couple of other organs, parts of the body as well, so which required surgery and chemotherapy and stuff like that. So I decided that was obviously a very serious, life-changing experience that was, more than worthy of donating the money. So I thought, considering the money came from the powerlifting community, I'd like to donate it back to somebody in there that truly deserved it. So I moved it on. I donated it there, and all the best to Jody. I hope that you certainly keep fighting and win this battle. And if you are looking for it, that's an example there. So if you've got a few bucks to spend and you want to help out someone in the powerlifting community, look that up on GoFundMe and donate. But, and it is a big but, when I looked up powerlifting on GoFundMe, that was about the only campaign that truly, stood for what I guess GoFundMe perhaps is about, maybe. I don't know, in my opinion anyway. So this is my show, so my opinion is the one that matters. And on there I looked at there was some, I don't know what word to use it, guys, used to describe it, guys, disgraceful maybe. There was multiple campaigns to send people to world championships, to national championships, to even a domestic competition, interstate. I mean, money for an interstate competition, you've got to be kidding me. But here were a couple. Now, I'm not going to, I know people might say I've gone a little soft, but I'm not going to read out names, but I'll read out some of the things, and if you spend a bit of time on there, you'll be able to find them, okay? So one of them was a $1,500 goal, of which $1,300 was raised. It said, "Hi, my name is, I'm the current Australian junior," now keep that word in mind, "national champion in powerlifting in your federation." Okay, let's be honest, which has been left out. "I've been selected, blah, 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 compete in the world championships, blah, blah, blah. I'm hoping to break all my records and also gain more international competing experience. Travelling and competing internationally comes at a price. At this stage, powerlifting is a self-funded sport and all expenses are to be taken care of by the athlete. I do, however," here it is, "need some financial support in chasing my dreams." I'm not sure what part of self-funded sport and all expenses will be taken care of by the athlete turns into "I need financial support." Terrible. Here's another one. Another world champion thing. 1,500 raised out of a 2,500 goal. So people are actually handing money over. Happily, hand over fist. Another, "I'm a junior powerlifter from somewhere. I've been selected to compete in blah, blah, blah. Powerlifting is recognised by the Australian Sports Commission, but unfortunately is not government funded." Probably, thankfully, not government funded. I prefer my taxes to go to more important things such as roads, hospitals, schools, and other major infrastructure that myself and the community benefit from, not someone's selfish pursuit of chasing a dream overseas, lifting some weight, lifting steel, lifting metal. Instead of on one patch of dirt here, it's on another patch somewhere on the other side of the world. So it says this means all costs of local, national, international competitions are out of the athletes' pockets. I would hope local competitions are out of the athletes' pockets, for fuck's sake. Now, the money raised for me will go towards air travel, land travel, competition registration fees, uniform, food and beverage. So what the hell are you paying for? Like, what the hell is this? Please pay everything. Even the competition fee. This is unbelievable. Here we go, another one. $550 out of $4,000 goal. Another world championship request. My name is compete in powerlifting, which is a self-funded sport. The way to get through is pretty much sponsorships. I don't know how. Now, sponsorships is a whole different kettle of fish with powerlifting strongman in Australia, but the last time I checked, I don't think someone getting given a free set of wraps and a t-shirt isn't exactly helping them financially. But anyway, started powerlifting last year, so obviously a wealth of experience, and being selected to qualify for blah, blah, blah. I get to represent Australia. No. You represent yourself as an Australian, okay? You see those big games every 4 years called the Olympics? Those people are representing Australia. But wait, there's more. Now, this is a good one. Hi, I'm... $440 out of a $2,500 goal. Once again, another World Championship event. I am your 2015 Australian champion. I I don't recall voting. You know, Malcolm Turnbull is my Prime Minister. Whether I voted for him directly or not, he can make that sort of statement saying, I am your Prime Minister. However, someone in a champion in a under blah 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 women's weight class, you know, you're not my champion, okay? That's like me saying, hey guys, I'm your Victorian representative for ProRaw 9 in the 125 kilo men's division. It's like I'm saying I'm the most elite 125 kilo male lifter in Victoria because I'm competing at ProRaw 9. Now, that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but it's in their spiel. So anyway, then they give off their best results and blah, 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 and where they're going to finish and all this other stuff. I am not sponsored. Powerlifting is not a government-funded national sport. Thank God, once again. All expenses incurred are covered by athletes. Do you see a theme here? They mention it's not supported by the government and that everything's, you know, incurred or costed by the athlete. But they've all got the handout. So any donations are welcome, blah, blah, blah. No. Now, I could go on and on, okay, but I'm trying to keep it relatively brief, but there were just some that had to be mentioned. Now, final one. Represent Australia in powerlifting, $1,300 out of $3,500. I'd love to know where they get all these figures from too. You know, I'd like to see images of the quotes or the tickets they've actually bought, the accommodation they've booked, you know, maybe screenshots of the menus of the restaurants they're planning to eat. But anyway, now, some of these stories are quite brief because they just basically say, hey, I'm the best at this, give me your money. But this one's got me hooked. We all have a passion, a desire, a dream, something deep within that pushes us to strive for more. Whether it be academic, spiritual, or athletic, let me tell you my story. And it goes on. If I mention a little bit more, it'll be a little bit too identifying. But anyway, so they've competed in another thing, been selected for the World Championship. This has now led me to be chosen to represent Australia in the Asia Championships being held all the way in Christchurch, New Zealand, which is why I need your help. All the way? I could probably fly to Christchurch in a quicker time than it would take me to fly to Perth. All the way in New Zealand. That exotic, faraway destination. I am looking to raise $3,500 to assist me. These funds will go towards my flights, accommodation, food and travel. So, what do they do with their own money over there? Oh wait, that's right, you don't have to spend a thing. Win a national championship, become the best of the best in your federation in a weight class, and then you can just put the hand out and say, guys, please, support my dream. Support me to support my dream. All the blood, sweat and tears I've put into my training will all have been to represent my country. Did that violin arrive in time? Ah. Sorry guys. We'll have to wait till next week. Let me just get the blood pressure down and I'll continue. So with that out of the way, what's up next? Definitely not another GoFundMe campaign, that's for sure. But myself, I don't have a lot of rest time. Towards the end of April, I've got 2 competitions coming up. The first one is the GPC States, the Victorian State Championships, held down at PTC HQ. Hey, maybe I could start a GoFundMe for the Eastlink account. And the numbers I'm sort of chasing will ideally be very similar to what I did at ProRaw 9. So I personally don't expect to really total any more than I did there. Given the sort of limited 3 to 4 weeks I've got to train, I may put wraps on and give that a shot. But that's sort of what I'm aiming for at the moment. So just to kind of repeat the performance there, maybe without getting stuck under 317.5 kilos, and then qualify for nationals. Now, followed by this a week later is the Victorian Log Press and Deadlift Championship event. Now, this is an event that I've sort of got a soft spot for. I competed in it back in 2015 and won the log press. Since then, the record has been taken over by somebody else just last weekend. 2 weekends ago at the Arnold Classic Australia. So I did hold the Victorian log press record at 150 kilos. It's now been raised to 160. My best in training is 166. So it's nice to see in sort of 2 years or so that the competition hasn't jumped, way ahead. I will have to get used to training with a bigger 12-inch diameter log, which I've already started doing, as you can see here. And it doesn't always go to plan. So the first time I actually lapped 140 kilos with the big log, this is what happened. But hey, you've got to be able to have a laugh at yourself, not take things too seriously. So I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into log. It's going to be a little bit tricky to train squat, bench, deadlift, and then also log press. I'm going to have to modify how I've trained. I'm going to have to bring a lot more shoulder stuff into it, because one of the things I did notice towards the end of my prep for ProRaw 9 was a distinct weakness in my left shoulder compared to the right. This was also shown in that bench press when I missed 205 kilos. The weight, went down like that. So there's going to try and build those shoulders up, and once again try and stay away from injury if I can. So it's always a very fine line, but it's a good challenge. There may be one or two special episodes in the lead up to it. We'll see how it goes, but that's the plan for the next 4 to 5 weeks, and then hopefully have a little break and then train towards GPC Nationals if I'm lucky enough to qualify. Along with log press, I've also started training a little bit for the max deadlift event as well on that same day. Now last week it was my birthday, so everyone at Iron Revolution was very supportive of having a deadlift party for my birthday. Everyone got really G'd up to have a crack at max deadlifts and things like that, and I made the bold statement that if I pulled a PB deadlift, I'd shoey a can of Fit Aid out of my shoe. So I thought I prefer that than alcohol, especially in a gym environment. So this was the result.
Where's that shoey? Where's that shoey? Get that shoey in you. Get that shoey in you. The shoe is coming off. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the Fit Aid, the Rachel Tito, the Quadzilla, filling up the White Juggernaut shoey. Oh, this is going to be good. Oh, shit! That's disgusting! I love it. Yeah! Woohoo!
Thank you, guys.
And thank you very much to Ange for filming and commentating that. It was quite good. Yeah, it still makes me laugh every time I hear him comment on that stuff. So, but sometimes you just got to do crazy stuff. It just keeps everyone entertained, I guess. And as I said, you can never take yourself too seriously, especially with this sort of stuff. So, as always, you can find me on Instagram at the White Juggernaut. Now, this is the second last episode. Now, next week, I've got a very special guest. As you saw last week, Ed Coan joined Marcus and I for our ProRaw recap. But next week, I've got a special one-on-one episode with Ed where after I had that chat with Marcus, I followed Ed around the gym and had a chat to him in between sets as he worked out, and sort of asked a wide range of questions about training, about ProRaw 9, personal stuff. It was quite a good chat. So hopefully it comes together as a reasonably good episode. And I just thought it's kind of, funny that when I started out here 12 or 13 weeks ago, who the hell would have thought that the greatest powerlifter of all time would be the special guest on the last episode of the season. So it's just been beyond my wildest dreams. Certainly extremely thankful to Marcus for sort of arranging that, and Ed, of course, for being supportive of it too. So stay tuned for that. But thank you for watching, and as always, let's get out there, let's get in the gym, let's get it done.